I've lived in and around Boca Raton and Palm Beach Gardens for over 30 years. And I'm here to tell you that they are not as similar as some people like to think. So stand by, because in this episode, I am going to give you the inside scoop on these two cities so you can decide if one of them is the right fit for you. So I decided to do this subject of Boca versus Palm Beach Gardens because, first of all, I've had several local people that I know, family members, say, "Oh my gosh, Palm Beach Gardens is becoming Boca." I was like, what exactly does that mean? And then I've also, at the same time, had some clients or just people that I've been helping tour the area. They've been kind of mixed between, do I want to live in Boca or do I want to live in Palm Beach Gardens? And it made me stop and think about it because I always think of them as very different. And then I had to think, well, I wonder what it is about them that makes people think they're so the same. So that is the purpose of this video. And I hope it helps you understand both of these cities to see if maybe one of them is right for you. So before I get started, I just want to tell you also that I did another video on Boca versus West Palm Beach, which I thought was kind of a better, apples to apples comparison. But stand by, I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm just going to quickly show you on a map where they're both located and tell you a little bit about them geographically. So here's the 30,000 foot view. Sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I know a lot of times people just watch what I'm sharing and haven't seen my other videos. So I'm just going to show you, this is the 30,000 foot view of Palm Beach County. Here's the lower south border just below Boca. So Boca is really the last city in Palm Beach County before you get into Broward County, which the main city there is Fort Lauderdale. And then here's the northern border, which is basically Jupiter to Cuesta. And Tequesta actually straddles the next county, which is Martin County. So, and as you can see, it's primarily a coastal. Most of South Florida is this way. It's coastal. When you get down further down into Broward and Dade County, it does stretch even more toward the Everglades. But most of our living here is coastal-ish living. And the two cities we're going to talk about, here's Boca Raton right down at the bottom of the county. And then here's Palm Beach Gardens, almost in, you've really got just a couple more cities north of there, Juneau, Jupiter, and then Tequesta. So it's about, say, 20 minutes north of West Palm Beach. And Boca is at least a half hour south of West Palm Beach. So Palm Beach Gardens has better proximity as it relates to the Palm Beach airport, but Boca has the proximity of accessing both the Palm Beach International Airport and also Fort Lauderdale International, which Fort Lauderdale tends to have better flights all year round, where Palm Beach's flights are more seasonal. Okay, so I'll just show you the niche. So both of them have, Boca has an A+ rating and Palm Beach Gardens has an A rating. So they're very similar in that respect. There are a lot of, data-driven similarities. Boca has a larger population at 98,000. And I think Palm Beach Gardens is like a third of that, 60,000. So a little bit smaller in that department. And the percentage of owned to rent is just about the same. It's a little bit more ownership in the gardens. And I'll just show you this map because this also tells the story. So these are the boundaries of Boca. And it's kind of like in a lot of the other videos that I've done, you can see the boundaries here for the municipality, but then you see all this here to the west as far as the Everglades. And all of this are people that live in these communities. It's all gated communities, consider themselves Boca residents, even though they pay their taxes to the county and their services are provided by the county. They think of themselves as Boca because basically they are. And then here are the Boca boundaries. And the other thing about that is that I was looking at this list of developments in, I'm going to talk about this later, but developments in Boca, and there are 2,000 developments or something like that, communities, neighborhoods in Boca Raton. So it's very developed. It's densely developed and populated, although it does have a lot of golf type communities, which gives you a lot of green space. You can see here like Boca West and all these different golf communities. But when I compare that to the gardens, this is where you start to see the difference. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how both of these cities came about and the age of the city, and then you'll really be able to see the difference. But these are the craziest boundaries. But here's Palm Beach Gardens, and it's so crazy because when I tell you about like the waterway, here's the Intracoastal, and they just have these little chunks that are part of the municipality, and then these are the holdouts that are still in the unincorporated areas, even though people who live all in these areas and all, well, you can see actually down through here, are all consider themselves living in Palm Beach Gardens. And then you have this just crazy little lump out here. And this is where there's a large development going in, which I'll feature in another video, called Avenir. And it also has this related luxury community called Panther National. So this is part of Palm Beach Gardens, even though you can see how far away Palm Beach Gardens is. And so when you compare this to Boca, you can see Boca is like fully developed going out west here. And then when you look at Palm Beach Gardens, you can see, there's just a lot of green space. So when you look at the population being a third less in the gardens, the actual square miles of real estate is double what it is in Boca. And that's because you've got these preserves, protected spaces, and you have so many very large, luxurious golf communities. So we're going to get into that, and stand by. I think both of these cities, going back to me saying how friends and clients have said they kind of think of them interchangeably. And I think that might be because they do have a luxury resort kind of feel to them, and they have those roots. I think Boca more than Palm Beach Gardens from the resort perspective, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But also, they both have this, like, the main road that goes through town, and I'm going to show it to you. So, South County, which is what we refer to for Boca, South County, is more developed because many people have moved up from Broward County and settled here. And there are a lot of people from the Northeast that live in full and part-time New Jersey, New York, the Northeast, in Boca. And I think that's less so. It is definitely less so than in Palm Beach Gardens. And so in Boca, you have this main road. These are the roads we live on. So the main road that goes through Boca, east to west, is Glades Road. You can see it here. And on Glades Road, from US 1, which is the main north-south corridor, all the way to the north end in Jupiter and going down into Fort Lauderdale and Miami, it's a through street. So Glades Road connects you from US 1 all the way across I-95, which is our main expressway. And that will take you straight up to the gardens, to West Palm Beach and the gardens. And then it heads all the way out west, as you can see, Glades Road. Actually, the other expressway here is the Florida Turnpike, which is right here. So when people talk about in Palm Beach Gardens, that road is PGA Boulevard, and that road does the same thing. It starts at US 1. It goes, in this case, it goes over the Intracoastal. In the case of Glades Road in Boca, the Intracoastal is over here to the east of Glades Road. But so Palm Beach Gardens has PGA Boulevard, and it starts at US 1, and it heads all the way west past 95 and ends up past the Florida Turnpike out here at PGA National. So both of these roads are we depend on them to get, if you live in East, on this road is a lot of shopping. Just like in Boca, on this Glades Road, you have the Town Center Mall, which is one of the largest regional malls, and it's a wonderful, luxurious town center mall. And the offset to that here on PGA Boulevard is you have the Gardens Mall right here, and then it has shopping all around it. Downtown at the Gardens, there's the Whole Foods there. There's more shopping down here. So, and then more as you go out PGA Boulevard. So those are the two main roads in each of these. I mean, there's other ancillary roads, and a lot of times you need to know the back roads, which I can tell you about them because I know the back roads. Because during season, when the population practically doubles around here, so does the traffic on these roads. And I think that's when people start muttering, because Boca is more heavily and more densely populated. So if you go down there during the season, it has changed over the years. Florida Atlantic University has become a very large university for this area and nationally. And so here it feeds right onto Glades Road. And then you have the Boca Airport, which is right here by I-95. And you've got the town center mall out here and shopping all around and restaurants. So there's a lot of traffic on both of these main roads, but I think less so on PGA Boulevard. So that's where I think that comment came from the locals. But from the perspective of evaluating if either of these is the right town for you, I would say, and my opinion is that Boca, because it is more densely populated, because a lot of the population there has moved here from the Northeast, because there are just like twice as many restaurants, twice as much shopping, and also because Boca has all of these beautiful beach areas. I think they have like, I don't know if it's 6 miles or more of, you see Red Reef Park. There's just parks all along Spanish River Park, all along the beach here. And they also have their inlet, the Boca Inlet. So they have beautiful parks at the beach, and their beaches are beautiful. And pretty much there isn't very much construction on the beach. Some single family homes, some condominiums, but mostly parks and beautiful beach. Whereas when you look in Palm Beach Gardens, it's really more of a golf town. I mean, it is the original home of the PGA. We have the PGA Resort and Spa out here where the original PGA was located. We have the Honda Classic there. And as you can see here, we've got Mirasol Country Club, Old Palm Country Club, Fallon Isles Country Club. It's just, if you look at my video that I did on Palm Beach Gardens, you will see they've got Frenchman's up here, Frenchman's Reserve. There are so many very large country clubs all throughout Palm Beach Gardens. And that is very different. I mean, not to say that there aren't a lot of country clubs here in Boca, because there is the Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club here, the Boca Golf Club. You've got all these clubs out west, Boca del Mar, Boca West. But it is the background, the backstory on both of these towns is Boca is actually having, I think it's 100-year anniversary this year. I grew up in Lighthouse Point, which is just Pompano Lighthouse Point, which is just over the line here in Broward County. And when I was growing up, there was no I-95, and Boca was basically here to the east and really was a resort town. It has the Boca Hotel and Club, which is located right up here, and all the beautiful beaches. There was no mall. Florida Atlantic was just a very small regional university. And so it does have its roots in a Meisner-esque, Meisner was the architect that designed a lot of the beautiful homes in Palm Beach. And he came down here at some point, like in the 30s or 40s, and designed a lot of beautiful, including the Boca Hotel, a lot of older, beautiful structures here in Boca. So that's the roots of it. I mean, it does have some history as a town as far as history goes here in South Florida. And Palm Beach Gardens has an entirely different story, because at one time, the city itself was only created in the late 50s. And the whole reason that it came about was because there was a very wealthy, I think he was an insurance magnate, John D. MacArthur, and he actually lived here in this old Colonnades Hotel in Palm Beach Shores. And he owned like all of this real estate. And when he decided that he wanted to create a garden city here in northern Palm Beach County, he named it Palm Beach Gardens, and he got to work designing the city. And that was really just in the early 60s. So there is quite a contrast here. And the reason why the gardens has gotten so big of late, say in the last 30 or 40 years, compared to Boca, is because the MacArthur Foundation, after the passing of John MacArthur, had a huge portfolio of real estate, most of which was here in Palm Beach Gardens. And they decided to diversify their portfolio, and they started selling this off. And the city of Palm Beach Gardens was smart enough to say, hang on, and they managed the development of the city. So it's really well planned. And when you drive around here, it's like you can see from these videos, it's very lush. There's a lot of green space created on the roadways. The roads are very well planned, and as are the developments. So, and the shopping and the restaurants. So that's kind of the story, the backstory for Palm Beach Gardens. And the other thing about Palm Beach Gardens is that it doesn't have the beaches. Like, so you can see here the boundaries here. There are no beaches in Palm Beach Gardens proper, but it does have, like, here's PGA Boulevard, which ends at US 1. So most people either come over here to Singer Island and go to the beach here at John D. MacArthur Beach State Park, which you can see these beautiful videos I can show you of this beautiful big waterway, which is the original Lake Worth Lagoon. And that runs all the way down past the Palm Beach Inlet and down into West Palm Beach, which I've talked about in some of my other videos. And then we have this beautiful state park that John MacArthur left for us. And it's adjacent to this private community called Lost Tree, and then down into Singer Island. So there's lots of beach to be enjoyed, either from Singer Island all the way up to Juneau and Jupiter for Palm Beach Gardens. And then the other thing about Palm Beach Gardens, you know, Boca is high energy. Boca is like flash a little bit, but not so much like the beach aspect of it. But I just mean that it has the types of people that have moved here and that live here. Its history of, after being a resort town, of IBM coming here in the 80s, and a lot of corporations coming here for their headquarters and their principals of those companies moving here. There's a lot of luxury living in a more dense way. There's a lot more canals along the intercoastal here. And as you can see, the intercoastal is really narrow. So it's quite different from Palm Beach Gardens, where you do have a narrow intercoastal, but it feeds into the larger Lake Worth, and it has this much more navigable inlet that Boca has a much smaller, tighter, more challenging inlet depending upon the weather. So that's kind of a summary of the laid back Palm Beach Gardens to the more sophisticated, high energy environment of Boca Raton. I always like to stop and take a minute and introduce myself. So my name is Diane Wimbrow, and I am a lifelong South Floridian and realtor here in Northern Palm Beach County. And I can't tell you how many calls and texts I get from people just trying to figure out the right place for them in South Florida. And I love getting these calls because I really do understand the differences in the different communities. And I like to share that with people who are thinking about moving here so they make the right choice for them. So feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text and we can have a chat. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe below so you'll know every time we have a new video. And let's keep talking about Boca Raton and Palm Beach Gardens. Okay, so then I thought I would talk about like where you live in both of these cities, like what the lifestyle choices are for living. And I think that's quite a bit different. And just living at either end of the county. I mean, the north end of the county is more the laid back spirit, the more open space, the more natural preserves, even though like in a Boca, the heart of Boca is that high energy and maybe just the energy of the people from the Northeast that have come down there. But it also has its laid back beaches and its downtown areas. So that's what I'm going to show you a little bit of so you can get a feel. So just going back, I'll start with Palm Beach Gardens. And again, I'm going to do a video soon. I have to drive out there for Avenir. This is a community that it's drawing a lot of people because you get a lot more for your money out there. It's new construction. We don't have a lot of new construction. I mean, probably more new construction in Palm Beach Gardens than some other towns in the eastern part. But basically, the thing about Palm Beach Gardens compared to Boca is that Boca is kind of a self-sufficient city and really interacts probably more with the town just north of it, Del Rey, but really has, you know, everything is here. And you can even just tell by the shape of it. I mean, like this is Boca, and Boca has everything it needs. And Del Rey kind of they feed off of each other because Del Rey has a lot of nightlife and a different thing going on there. But in Palm Beach Gardens, just as you can just see from the way that it's situated and the way that it developed, is it kind of tucks in here in next to Juneau Beach, just north. This is all North Palm here. So this areas are all unincorporated Palm Beach County. So, I mean, I live right in this area on Lake Worth here, and I'm all around here all the time. And I'm up in Jupiter because I have family up in Jupiter. And I'm down in West Palm because I have business in West Palm, but I mostly circulate here. So even though you're like over here in Palm Beach Gardens, you could live in North Palm, and North Palm has a lot of, I did a video on North Palm, but it has a whole waterway network here with canals with beautiful homes on them. And then even though this northern part is unincorporated along the intercoastal, it's really Palm Beach Gardens. I mean, people that are in here, maybe their taxes are paid to the county, but there are all these, you see the canals here. You can see, I'll show you in these videos. This is Prosperity Farms Road, and it runs from the north border of Palm Beach Gardens here at Donald Ross Road, which leads you over to Juneau, and you can come right down Prosperity. It crosses PGA, and you continue on, and there's just, see all these canals. So there's all these neighborhoods here of single family homes. And then in this area near the Gardens Mall, it's been developed with more like multifamily gated communities, but like with zero lot line, like the Gardens area, which is a beautiful, you'll see these videos. I was out walking the other day and I decided to take some videos of this because there's like a couple of, Bergen DeVosta was a very popular developer in northern Palm Beach County back in the 80s. And many of these kind of middle of the road developments, middle of the road as in mid-priced, were developed by them, but they were really good, strong builders at the time. So you have these like quad patio home developments and then zero lot line residences. And then as you head out PGA Boulevard, you have all these beautiful club communities, and Ballin Isles runs from PGA Boulevard all the way down to North Lake. These Palm Beach PGA National is a whole bunch of different smaller communities within this network, and then you have the resort and club and the golf course. To the north of that, you have the country club at Mirasol, and then over here you have Old Palm. So and all of these, like Frenchman's Creek here to the northeast corner of the Gardens, they're all just gorgeous. They were natural places to begin with when they developed, and they didn't like mow everything down and start from scratch. They built these beautiful golf courses. They preserved the nature. A lot of them have Audubon designations. It's really a beautiful place to live. And it also, like I said, I think the thing that's different about this is like, here's North Palm Beach, but it's right on the border of what is Palm Beach Gardens. So we're like one big happy family here. So it's worth pursuing, like look for my video that I did on North Palm. That will give you some more information on this area, as well as Jupiter and Juneau. And then when it comes to Boca, I did do a video recently on Delray, so you can understand more about Delray Beach, which is up here in the northeast corner. But in Boca, it's kind of interesting because it is an older city in this eastern part, and even some of these parts like northeast turning to northwest, like here along Clintmore, and up here it's called Hidden Valley. Up here on the near the Delray border, there are some medium priced homes, under $1 million in nice communities where you have easy access to the beach here, or if you're over here or out here, you have easy access to Glades Road and everything that's going on down here. And then all these networks of canals here off of US 1, east of US 1, are just super beautiful, luxurious communities with fabulous high-end homes on the water. And that's really like a big deal here in Boca. There's plenty of it. Like in the Gardens, you don't have as much, like I'll show you. Here's PGA. Here's Prosperity that we're talking about. You have canals and you have beautiful homes on these canals. And then you have the canal networks of North Palm. But Boca is a totally different package. And also the beach communities. You have the Boca Hotel here, which is beautiful. And you have this Camino Real, which is this road that runs from US 1 over to the beach. You go by the Boca Hotel and Club. You've got beautiful hotels right here on this point. This is called Lake Boca. And then you have all these like some townhouses, single family homes here along the intercoastal. And then in the heart of Boca here, where there is the Royal Palm Playhouse, the Meisner Park for shopping, new residential that's been built, like low profile residential along Palmetto Park Road all the way up to Glades. So this is like the heart of Boca here, and there's a lot of living options right here so that you can walk where you want to go, ride your bike. And then as you head out, like you've got FAU up here, you've got those more affordable communities here, and then you've got all these club communities out west, which many of them were built like say in the 80s and the 90s. Like this is a good example. Boca Point is a beautiful development, the Boca Rio Golf Club. So there's so many choices, and it's a whole different vibe down south than it is up in the gardens. So that's kind of my take on it. So what do you think? Are you interested in Boca or Palm Beach Gardens? I'd love to hear your thoughts or comments in the comments section. And feel free to call me or shoot me a text. I'd love to have a chat. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe so that you know every time we have a new video. And if you want more information on either Boca or Palm Beach Gardens, you can take a look at my video on Palm Beach Gardens or another video that I did on Boca versus West Palm Beach. Thanks for watching.